Good morning, everyone.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Aloha, we should say. We are staring out our windows right now, looking at the ocean, and it's, what is it? It's currently 66 degrees and clear with a high of 82 today. So trying to bring you a little sunshine from Hawaii.
Aloha warmth, because I know you guys are cold right now. You can only hear us right now because we're doing a screen share, and we're going to walk you guys through the Elevate website here in a couple minutes. So you won't physically see our faces, you're just going to hear our voices this morning. So
right. Might as well,
let's dive in.
We'll kind of go with real basic stuff that's not as exciting, but you might not know about it.
And do we want to start by talking about why we're even doing Elevate this morning?
Sure.
I mean, it's such a helpful resource, and I'm glad that you guys are online this morning because a lot of the questions that Paul, Parker, and even Todd and I get on a daily basis, most of those answers can actually be found in Elevate. So we just want to point out a couple very important pieces from the system and then allow you guys to navigate it a little bit more. But yeah, a lot of the questions we get over and over and over, it's like, have you been on Elevate? Well, what's Elevate? How do I find that? So that's the main reason.
And if you've been with Equity for some time, I mean, back in the day it was called the Archive, and then we switched to Elevate, I don't know, probably 5-6 years ago. And that was version 1. We're now at version 3. So if you were looking at version 1 or 2, it had lots of stuff, but it wasn't as easy to find things. And so some people kind of gave up and said, I don't need anything back there. And we found this out here not too long ago, someone saying, oh, I haven't even been on Elevate 3. Well, we've had 3 for 2 years now. And it actually is really good. There's a lot of great stuff back here. So if you haven't been on it, this will be great for you. So the first thing I just wanted to show you is the My Business tab. And a lot of people don't know that this exists. When you click it over here on the left-hand side, so make sure obviously this is a demo, that's not me. Make sure that when you're logged in, your photo's there. If your photo's not there, you can get that uploaded as well. And that way that goes across all the sites and our websites. But you go to My Business, and you can see the demo hasn't closed anything. We need to get her doing stuff. But your closings will be right here, your year-to-date and your income, and then your actual vouchers that you get on when you close your transaction. You can actually view that voucher right there. So real nice just to see where you're at, where you're going for the year. Maybe you didn't know that was there. My fee structure, I mean, you guys are all on the same fee structure, but if you ever are curious what our fees are, it's all broken down right in here as far as the standard transaction fee of $4.99 between $83,000 and $3 million. And then when you do a closing above $3 million, we take a 10%. Referral fees, only $150. How to do a commission share, commercial leases, BPOs. So yeah, it's all right there if you ever need to know. I think that's handy. So go back to the home. That was My Business. So that was under the My Business tab. And then hopefully you guys all read the weekly update yesterday. Your 1099s are or have been sent electronically, email, and then you download them, read the weekly update, but that was not spam. We're not sending physical checks or physical 1099s out. We did send them electronic, secured, and you download them. So if you didn't get your 1099 email, or you didn't notice it, read the weekly update so you know what you're looking for, or you can request it again and we'll email it again. That cannot be found on Elevate though.
Good question.
So what's the first thing you want to show?
Let's just talk about a couple of the training tools that we have and resources back here. If you go in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see the training with the little graduation cap. Just go ahead and click on that. And then under our how-tos, we often reference our how-tos quite a bit. So I just wanted to show you guys how to get to those. And then in here, we've got a lot of different resources broken down into buyer and seller side and business building. So if you have any questions on how to put together your packet for CTM or .loop, we've got all that at the very top, which you can see submitting your packet for commission payment. And then we've got our seller side how-tos. And I just updated all of our checklists, all of our contracts. They should actually be up today. I was hoping to have them up this morning, but they haven't all been coded yet. So if you need samples of the listing contracts, primarily I want to show you just some of the checklists that we have in here for when you're doing a transaction and you're not quite sure, oh, I've got, a listing coming up, what do I do? Oh, I've got a listing that just went under contract, what are the next steps? So I'm going to show you those here in just a second. So servicing the seller. Servicing the seller, these are the steps that you're going to take once you've signed a listing agreement with a client. And so on servicing the seller, it's just going to give you check box by check box what you're going to need to do so that you don't overlook anything. And so, yeah, getting an electronic lockbox, pulling an O&E report, making a marketing package, doing your tutorial video on Matrix so you know how to enter your listing, how to set up a showing, or how to set up your showing account. So yeah, and these checklists are going to look a little bit different by this afternoon.
So these were updated? Yes,
these were completely updated. Okay. Paul and I revamped them entirely last week. So they're going to be a little more current.
It doesn't say CSS is now showing time, and not huge changes, but small changes.
Just little nuances, but all the information pretty much stayed the same. So, for example, then let's go back to the main screen. So my listing just went under contract, now what? That seems to be the biggest question that I get, and you guys tend to call me up in a panic. Oh my gosh, my listing went under contract. What am I supposed to do next? And first of all, congratulations is what I usually say. And then I start going through all these initial tasks, all the tasks that you're supposed to do 3 to 5 days after the offer's been accepted. But these checklists came from my own personal checklists. So I just created bullet points of all the things I would do in a transaction so that you guys don't miss a beat. And it's everything from inspection to appraisal, what to expect, earnest money, scheduling walkthroughs, everything from title to 2 weeks before closing. So great resource there. And then if you aren't familiar with how to do a CMA, I've got an entire comprehensive manual on doing a CMA. Let's click on how to prepare a competitive market analysis. So step by step, how you do it, what you're looking for. And this is quite a few pages. So if CMA is something that you're wanting to get better at this year, take a look at this handy little manual. And then there's also, if you're wanting to learn how to understand options, how to save CMA reports, how to do appraiser style adjustments, we've got access to all of those information pieces in Elevate as well. And then many of you asked me about my seller side email communication templates. So these were things that I compiled. When I work with a seller, I have templates set up so that every single seller gets the exact same experience. And so I took these and I exported them out of my email and then provided them to you guys. So you know how I communicate with my client every step of the transaction. And you can create your own templates using word for word what I've said, modifying it and tweaking it, adding your own. But if you're curious, how does Stacy communicate with her clients and what does she say and how often does she do it? Here are all of my email templates on the seller side of a transaction. So a little something for you guys to look through.
Yeah, this is nice. It just really keeps them informed of the process and everything that you said you're going to do, that you did it, and you're sharing with them. Actually, where you are marketing their properties, like you said in your listing presentation. Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, that's a good one. I've got our new exclusive right to sell listing contract template. So if you've never filled out a listing agreement before, you can see what customarily Todd and I recommend. What box do you check here? What do you put in on this line? So this is like the interactive contract to buy and sell, only it's for the listing side. So you can just use it as a tool to make sure that you're filling out the blanks correctly. So that's that one. And then the other one that I wanted to show you, many of you are starting to do, and we don't have to open it, but post-closing occupancy agreements. I do have a template for how a typical post-closing occupancy should be filled out. I also have a sample inspection resolution, because sometimes you're a little concerned, how do I word this? How do I make sure that a contractor is going to do it, that I get copies of receipts? So I've got the inspection resolution template in there so that you can mock yours off of that. So let's jump into the helpful seller side transaction resources. So these are just a couple things that you might use throughout your transaction on the seller side, a multiple offer spreadsheet. We're getting a lot of multiple offers still, so it's really helpful to be able to plug in all the pieces of each offer into one spreadsheet, and so that your seller can decide, or help your seller decide, what offer might be the best one for them. We've got a home enhancement checklist, so just how to help a seller prepare their home for market. Most of them are cleaning and tidying things, so that's kind of nice. Getting your house ready for sale, it's like a 12-page book that you can provide your client. It's for those who are very analytical, want to read everything, and it really goes through every step of depersonalizing, decluttering, what to expect for showings, how to prepare, what to fix, what not to fix. So I print these out and put them in my listing packet. Who pays what? Sometimes you aren't sure, your clients aren't sure what's a fee that that the seller's responsible for and what's a fee that the buyer's responsible for, depending on loan type. So you've got a nice color-coded chart on what is a buyer's cost on conventional FHA and VA, and what are seller's costs on conventional FHA and VA loans.
I like that.
That was a handy one that we got in a land title class, and I really, really liked it, so I uploaded it for you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, as you can see, just so many different resources back here that you probably weren't even aware we had. Moving checklist, utility contact, click on utility, because I like to provide this one to my clients several days before closing for the buyer side, just so that they know who they're supposed to call to set up their utilities. And then you also want to remind your seller to disconnect their utilities. Looks like it doesn't want to open. That's right, we'll move on. I love to send out a post-closing client survey. I like to know what I did well, what things I need to do to improve. And so we've already got an equity branded client satisfaction survey that you can send out. I've seen agents getting really creative with this, and they'll then take the testimonial that is written in the survey and they'll post it on their Google, on their Facebook reviews. I've seen agents doing video recordings after the closing with their clients, just so that they can have a video that they can then post on their website. So you can get real creative. Fortunately, our internet's a little bit sluggish this morning, so we aren't able to show you that. But hopefully you're in front of your computer, you can open that one up. Buyer side how-tos. Again, it mirrors a lot of what's on the seller side. You've got your interactive contract to buy and sell. And do we want to spend a couple minutes talking about this?
Yes,
all right.
Definitely.
I've done a lot of talking, so I'll let you take this one.
No, I like that you're doing all the talking. I can sit here and just look at the ocean.
Bring him back. Bring him back.
So yeah, I mean, Stacy did a lot of work in putting this together. Obviously, she went through the contract and filled out the most commonly used boxes that you would check, whether it be joint tenants or the type of way that you're going to hold title, whether or not you would check, security systems or solar panels and all that. So just filling out a contract is really nice. What do you put in for other inclusions? How do you tell somebody whether there's a garage or well rights? Your dates and deadlines are extremely important. Having all that, and her putting these, 10 days after contract acceptance, you got to go in and figure out the actual date and put this in there. So, I mean, that alone was super helpful. But what's extremely helpful, and this is like even to our seasoned agents, is these little boxes off to the left. How come they're not opening?
You have to download
it.
Yep. So the secret to the interactive contract and having it successfully work on your end, if you want to use the yellow boxes, is you can't open it in your web browser. You have to physically download it to your desktop. So that's what we just did. And then you can click on the yellow boxes, and I've actually written notes for every single section, whether it explains the section and what you're supposed to write, or it gives you extra reference points on how to complete that or how to answer questions about it.
But yeah, as you can see, all of these, 2.1, you'll want to confirm with your buyers how they would legally like the names to appear on the title. Some buyers just want first and last, others want middle initial, full middle name, always confirm, spelling, as that can be a tricky correction to make down the road. If an individual is taking title alone, you will mark the other box on the blank line next to it and type severalty. When two or more people are taking title together, the joint tenants or tenants in common boxes are applicable. I mean, look at that. She's got 3 paragraphs just on 2.1 and has gone through every section explaining what that actually means. And I think we even had a question the other day about ILCs. When should I use an ILC? You've actually got in here when somebody should mark for an ILC, correct?
Yeah, and I think the question was, am I supposed to order the ILC? You know, can the buyer get an ILC? And, you know, we responded with, what does your contract say? What did you put in your contract? But yeah, in the ILC section of this contract, I talk about pros and cons, when they should, when they shouldn't. So yeah, almost all the answers that you will ever have when writing an offer are all identified in these little yellow boxes.
Yeah, that took a lot of work. I haven't read all of these, and that's the problem, is we don't always go and look and see what we've actually done to make life easier for you guys, and I haven't even read all of these. But I'm not selling houses anymore, and I pretty much know what these things all mean.
But yeah,
I would highly suggest that everyone goes through and reads every one of these, just to re-educate themselves and stay current what's going on.
Yeah, and this is the new contract that came out last July, so it's got the most up-to-date information. But my goal in creating this, and it took a few months to do, but the goal was that you could feel like I was sitting right next to you, helping you with your offer. That I was there being, you know, a shadow to really walk you through and navigate it with you, so that you never felt like you were alone when you were drafting something. So that was the intent, and hopefully it's serving its purpose.
Yeah,
so
that's all. Water rights generally pertain to properties with a well. As a buyer's agent, you won't always know if there are any deeded water rights. The transfer with the home. If it doesn't hurt to ask the listing agent if he or she knows prior to writing the offer. Otherwise, title company can assist determining whether any water rights apply. On and on. Oftentimes, the listing agent will have the information for you. If not, you can look it up yourself by going to the Colorado Division of Water Resource Department website and conducting a well permit search. Property address is the easiest method. That's awesome.
And thank you, Parker. Parker says it's the best resource in elevator.
It really is. It really is. I mean, and we're going to toot our own horn. I mean, out of the 50 branches in equity corporate, I mean, we have 50 branches company-wide throughout the country. We're the only ones that have this.
Yeah.
You're the only one that's taking the time to do this, let alone filling out a sample contract. I don't even think we have sample contracts written
At some of the other branches.
at the other branches.
Probably not.
But to have gone through and done that's awesome. That's a great resource.
But that way you guys can do things on your time, when you want to, wherever you're at, whether it's, 7 a.m. in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. I mean, we work crazy hours as realtors, and so you're not always going to be able to get me on the phone during really, really early morning hours or really late hours, but you've got me sitting side by side through the interactive contract. So that was the main piece that I really wanted to make sure you guys were aware of and show you how to use those yellow boxes, because there's just so much information packed into that. So.
Yeah, nice.
But again, I've got tips on what to do once your buyer's offer has been accepted, what to do when someone wants to look at a house, how to make your buyer's offer competitive in today's real estate market, because it's not always just price and closing date. There are other things you can do to make it desirable.
Oh, where's that?
It's how to make a buyer's offer.
We just had an agent in the Colorado Springs office. They're now getting the multiple offers down there. And he was asking on their Facebook group, I don't know if he's in ours or not, how do you compete? So this needs to be shared with their office.
But yeah, down payment and scheduling inspection and making sure you reach out to the listing agent to find out what is the seller looking for, what can you do to make your offer shine, talking about closing costs, enhancing the earnest money. Maybe it's a $5,000 earnest money and your buyer decides to do 10 grand to really show that they're in it to win it. Doing a seller rent back with a post-closing occupancy agreement. There's just so many different things you can do. So I walk you through all of that as well. There's step-by-step tips on how to write a good inspection, objection, and resolution. So we break it down step by step.
Nice.
Yep. And then let's skip down to business building how-tos. So we've got goal setting and business planning guidebooks. We've got a new agent guidebook. We've got a marketing action plan. My daily checklist or my daily activity checklist. I harp on you guys about having daily checklists and knowing what you're supposed to do. So I've got that in there. I've got, let's see, what else? How to host a successful open house. I was just talking to someone about this the other day.
Yeah.
So this is like a 12-page book on how to host an open house. If you thought it was just a matter of buying open house signs, getting an open house and showing up, this 12-page manual will prove you wrong. So again, if you're looking to hone some of your skills this year, go in here and read this, because it will really help you take your open house to the next level and make it really, really worthwhile. It breaks it down to what do you do 3 days before? What do you do the day before? What do you do the day of? And what do you do for follow activities a day or two afterwards? So there's my things to do.
There it is.
Yeah. Things that you can do when you wake up in the morning and say, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. So, yep. Lots of checklists.
That's awesome. I think we're going to have to do another What's Back Here on Elevate, because we even get to like the marketing center, the websites. We've got so many other things.
Is there any final things that you wanted to show on here? Leave them with a cliffhanger?
Other than I think next, whether it be next week, well, it might be next week. Maybe we'll take a break and let Paul do one of these, and Paul can go into the marketing tab, which again, some of our agents who've been with us for a long time don't even know about this, and this is amazing. I mean, we started this about 1.5 years ago, and there's so many great tools back here for you guys to market yourselves in front of your clients, Facebook, Instagram. I'm going to wait and let Paul probably do this next week, and we'll talk about that. But you can set up a whole marketing campaign, lead generating, all right from.
But yeah, the marketing is amazing. The pre-templated letters that are in there, the postcards, and stuff. This is all stuff you can print on your own home computer. You don't have to send it to like a fancy printing company. You can, like Todd said, post it to social media. I mean, it's phenomenal. So we'll do next week. Let's do Marketing Center. I kind of like that idea.
Yep, we're getting people saying, let's do it. Awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Till then, aloha. See you guys. Mahalo. You're welcome.
Stay warm.
See you guys.
I'll talk to you guys next week.